So hello and welcome back to the next episode. In this one we are talking about the tent that I alluded to last time. As you see, we're here on Reimo, Australia, and there are quite a few rear tents available. Bizarrely, one that's quite hard to find and is kind of hidden away in the bottom is this one, the rear tent Univan with extra long lock, or otherwise known creatively as the 93798. Anyway, so this is the tent that we went with in the end, so let me show it to you. On the website itself, there is precious little detail about this actual tent. A description that you can read if you enjoy that sort of thing yourself, and 3 pictures which tell you basically nothing about the tent itself other than that it's square and that you can lift the flaps up. And of course I looked online and there were no other videos showing this particular model or how it works or how to put it up or doing a review on it, so I'm here to help you out. This obviously is the Australian version of the site. So let me show you the EU version, which is here. So in case you live up that away, it's €300 for you. In the end, plus shipping, it was $515, and it took all of 2 days to get here. Pretty easy, but you do have to pick it up from a TNT or a Big Post or a whatever else is in your area that's going to ship to. So as you see, it's a nice compact tent with an airlock kind of situation between the tent and the vehicle itself, and it's a nice square shape. Also, remember this bit? I don't know, I guess it's like a circle or an octagonal shape. Yeah, I'm not sure what was really going on in my brain that day. Right, onto the review. So when you do get the tent itself, it is in amazingly boutique and deluxe packaging, and it says 93798 Universal Rear Tent on the side. Obviously Reimo are not big on their marketing. Now I would encourage you to take it out before you go away and give it a first go at being put up. Have a look at the instructions, which are absolutely woeful, so I would say probably watch this video a couple of times to show you how it goes together rather than watching the instructions or reading the instructions, because they're terrible. As you'll see, it's a square-shaped tent. It's got 4 metal poles on the outsides with little bends in the tops, and then flexible poles that go across the tent in an X shape. So it's reasonably straightforward to put together. It's the new sort of modern design of tents that people seem to be doing. As you can see, it is possible to put this thing up one person. It is really fiddly. If you have 2 people to do it and you can both sort of push in from either side, it's much easier. Once the structure is up, it's a simple matter of hooking the tent itself around with those 3 hooks you see on the edges, and then sort of pushing it together and fiddling with it. After that, you put up the airlock over the back of your car. Now it's quite forgiving in terms of how far away you are from the car, but you can just sort of move the tent itself the first time that you do it. Once you pull the airlock over the top of the hatch, there are 2 hooks that go in over the top, and then it's just elastic that holds it on with a few pegs down the bottom. Now any of the sides can come up and be turned into an awning. I'm choosing the rear to demonstrate, and it's a fairly simple process, just like any other awning on any other tent. Again, a bit fiddly to do one person, but it is certainly possible. So once the whole thing is up, in combination with my 5.1 meter transporter, the whole thing, minus the awning that's up at the moment, measures 8.5 meters. So the length of the tent and the airlock together is about 3.4 meters. So that might factor into which campsite you can and cannot take this to. So here's a bit more of a detailed view of the vents from the outside. They are fairly minimal, and there is fabric on the sides. So even though they're pegged out, as you see there isn't a huge amount of airflow through there. So I would definitely encourage you, if you're using this product in Australia, to have one of the sides open as much as is humanly possible, which of course means that flies and insects and other grubs can get in. The other possible disadvantage that you will see there is that it has no floor. Now we ended up fixing this very simply with a 2.5 meter by 3.4 meter-ish tarp. Only cost us about $40. And yes, there isn't a seal at the bottom there, but for what we wanted to use it for storage of our items and things when we're driving the van away, or just a bit of extra storage while you're sleeping, it works out perfectly well just to have the tarp on the floor, and we didn't think that was a major issue. But the proof will be in the pudding, because we're aiming to take this thing away next week, so we'll very much see whether that tarp worked or didn't. So from the inside of the tent, it is a bit of a hot box. Unfortunately, what I thought were fly screens are tinted plastic. Does it really provide you much privacy? No, not really. Does it increase the heat inside the tent? Absolutely. So I suppose if you wanted to do some winter camping, or you're in a more temperate climate where it doesn't get to 40 degrees in the summer like it does in Australia, then this would probably be fine, and it would probably actually keep more heat in whilst allowing you to look outside, which would be nice. But yeah, for summer camping, it's not so pleasant. But each of the windows do have a roll-up cover, so if you wanted more privacy or you wanted to block more light out to try and reduce some of the heat inside, you can do that, and they work reasonably well. There is also another zipped hatch there between the airlock and the tent itself, so I'm hoping that once those are zipped up and the outside and the outside flaps are zipped up as well, that hopefully we won't get any insects. But again, the proof will be in the pudding after we have our first camping trip in this. So the airlock has a bit of elastic on the outside that holds onto the side of the van reasonably well. You can see there's a bit of an air gap there, and then it's pegged into the ground. You can probably peg it closer than I have there. So it's still not going to be 100% insect proof, but it's better than nothing. And the doors on either side open up really nice and wide, so again, good for airflow and really good for access. And because there are doors on all three sides of the tent and on both sides for the airlock, I think that's a great feature, because if you park in any sort of campsite, if you need flaps opened up in any direction, you can pretty much do that. It doesn't lock you into which way you need to open up your awning area or not. And out of the back of the van, you can see that now you've got a big, huge area that you can store things in, or move around in, or sit in and read things in, or eat your food in, or whatever you want to do. And obviously more areas sheltered from the rain and the elements are always better, because the van will be full of beds. There's not really anywhere to sit in there. So one option is we sit out here inside the tent itself, or obviously outside if the weather permits, or we move the bedding and things into the tent itself and then we can sit in the van. It gives you the modular ability to do whatever you like. And yeah, looking at the tinted windows, they don't really give you a huge amount of privacy, but I suppose they block out a bit of light. I wouldn't bet that they're UV blockers, so I think you would probably still get sunburnt if you're sitting inside there, so just be cautious of that. So there's the ventilation hatch in the roof of the tent. Look, as I say, it didn't really do a great deal when I was in it, and it was very hot. Maybe on a milder day it would be more effective. One thing I will say standing in the tent is it's very, very high. Any height of person would be able to stand up perfectly well in there. I can't remember exactly how high it is. I would say it's 2.3, 2.4 meters high. Yeah, you could stand out up there. You could do your yoga in there if you really wanted to, but certainly it's not lacking for vertical space. The other great thing about this tent is that it is a drive-away tent, meaning that you can leave it on the campsite if you want to go out for the day, go for a drive somewhere, explore the surrounding areas. You're not actually locked in to staying there, or indeed having to take the tent down when you leave. And if you do want to drive away, it's just a matter of unclipping those two clips on the top and securing the airlock down to sit flush against the tent itself, and away you go. And of course, putting it back, you just reverse that process. Now, I think initially, until you get used to it, it might take a few tries to get the van back into position after you've driven away and come back. I have tried it a few times. It's not that difficult, and the airlock is actually very forgiving in terms of how far it stretches out. I found that you want to probably be a couple of hand widths away between the end of the tailgate and the pole of the tent. Here you can see I'm much closer, but it will accommodate it kind of no matter where you stop. It's very forgiving, which is great. Really looking forward to using this thing in anger next week and taking you guys along for the journey. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, etc. And if you're traveling in the car with your dog, make sure that you buy a proper restraining harness, because a collar will not do it, and in the event of an accident, that's going to hurt your pooch much more than save them. Thanks very much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video when we go camping. See you then.